In the early hours of February 24, 2022, the world watched in disbelief as Russia launched a full-scale invasion of Ukraine. But this war didn't begin overnight. To truly understand the Russia-Ukraine war, we must go back, decades, into the deep folds of Soviet history. Ukraine was once the second most powerful republic in the Union of Soviet Socialist Republics, the USSR. Under Soviet rule from 1922 until 1991, Ukraine was not just an agricultural heartland but also a key industrial and military zone. It hosted nuclear missiles, was home to the Chernobyl disaster in 1986, and played a central role in Soviet military infrastructure. In 1991, the USSR collapsed. Ukraine declared its independence, and for the first time in centuries, it was free, but not without complications. Ukraine inherited the third-largest nuclear arsenal in the world, left behind by the Soviet Union. In 1994, under the Budapest Memorandum, Ukraine agreed to give up its nuclear weapons in exchange for security assurances from Russia, the United States, and the United Kingdom. Russia pledged to respect Ukraine's sovereignty and borders. That promise would later be shattered. As Ukraine tried to move closer to the West, tensions with Russia grew. The biggest point of friction? NATO. The North Atlantic Treaty Organization, formed in 1949 to counter Soviet power, expanded eastward after the Cold War, adding countries like Poland, Hungary, and the Baltic states. Russia saw this as a threat to its sphere of influence. In 2014, pro-Western protests in Ukraine led to the ousting of a Russia-friendly president. Russia responded by annexing Crimea, sparking the first major military escalation. Pro-Russian separatists, backed by Moscow, began fighting Ukrainian forces in the eastern Donbass region. A war had already begun, quietly. Then came 2022. Russian President Vladimir Putin declared a special military operation, claiming the goal was to demilitarize and denazify Ukraine. The world saw it for what it was, an invasion. Cities were bombed, millions fled, and Europe faced its biggest war since World War II. The war triggered global sanctions on Russia, while Ukraine received military and humanitarian aid from NATO countries, but not NATO membership. Ukraine's desire to join the alliance remains a red line for Moscow. Meanwhile, nuclear tensions rose again, with fears of escalation haunting the world. As the war grinds on, Ukraine fights not just for territory, but for its identity, its future, and its place in the world. This is more than a war over borders, it's a battle over history, alliances, and survival in the 21st century.